Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Unexpected Advice. I am Esther Angel with Insightfully Curious Consulting, and I'm really glad you're here because we are joined by my friend John Ratchford. John, thank you for joining us
Thank you for
today. John is a bit of a legend in our area. Okay, he says no, but he really throws amazing and fabulous parties. I've heard the legends and stories of those parties. On top of that, John, you are a seasoned sales professional, and I always respected your true belief in people and helping them guide them to success. He's also highly involved in his local church and a believer in the transformational power of faith. So in those parties, I will say you have a brood of children and a lovely wife, and all of them love to join you for those great events. However, that's not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about is perception and reality. So, John, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
This is great.
This is a really interesting topic.
And I think we're doing it in an amazing place.
Yes, we are doing this in an amazing place.
We were thinking about doing it just on our computers.
And then
but we decided to do it at a pub. This is where we're the most comfortable.
A really fantastic pub. I always say it wrong, but it's Boobies, right?
It is Boobies.
It's Boobies. I want to say it Boobs.
I know.
But I say it wrong because I'm not from here in Lancaster. It is Boobies Brewery. Yeah. And we just got to have a lovely conversation with the owner. He's fabulous. If you haven't, check it out in Mount Joy, Pennsylvania. It's actually one of it's on the markers of interesting places. It's a historic building. You can see this really fantastic, because they have a tavern license in Pennsylvania, and like a historic, now I have to look at a historic license. It has something to is issued probably in the 1800s. Yeah. So yeah, we're here.
This is the Alois Bar. So there's the Bottle Works downstairs.
Okay.
This is the Alois Bar that Sam was talking about earlier. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
It's beautiful.
It's perfect for a podcast. Yeah, it's beautiful.
So much history here as well. So if you ever do come, they'll actually give you a tour because there's caverns underneath where they have host some different events and things. It is haunted. The facility is haunted. Just be forewarned. Yeah. But they give a lovely tour. Fabulous. Nice outdoor seating too in the summers.
Maybe we'll do a tour later.
Maybe we'll do a tour later.
If we have time. I think we might.
We might have time. We might have time. If not, then you can check out their social channels as well. On Boobies, they'll be tagged in the podcast, and you can check them out. And go check it out yourself. So let's talk. Let's talk about this. So this was fascinating. This is a fascinating subject. When you brought this up, what made you kind of think about it? Because I asked for a topic to give advice on that people wouldn't expect to hear from you. What brought this up?
It's a great question. I mean, I think we're just going through so much stuff in our country and the world. And I've questioned my perception of things. And is my perception the truth? And is it reality? So I just, I don't know. I just thought that this is a good time. To maybe just be more aware of, how we're perceiving things that are going on around us. And trying to determine from that perception what's the truth. It's just, for me, it's just been very interesting to kind of look into this a little bit over the last couple of weeks and find the reasons, I think, and to think about the reasons why you and I could see the same exact event, or whether it's a shooting or a car accident or whatever happened, and our perception is completely different.
Yes. And then there's that question. There's the truth of, and this is an interesting point that another one of my podcast hosts brought up in the legal profession, that there's a lot of opportunity in the legal profession for interpretation, but the goal of prosecution in criminal law is to say what actually happened, it did or did it not break the law. And I think that's a difficult, shouldn't be hard to find. But to your point, it's the perception, it's the people that live that experience. What did they feel? What did they see? So something that I was crafting some questions for this, and one of the things that struck me is what is a time when that perception changed for you? Like when you realized, oh, my perception's really different than someone else's, and take a step back to question that.
Having a large family, having 6 kids, and pretty close together, there was a point in our lives where I just think that my perception of how I was raising my family and how I was going through doing our finances and, just different things in our life, just I wasn't perceiving it the way I think other people were.
Interesting. Can you
And
give an example? Like what was that like?
yeah, so just maybe at one point when I was in between jobs,
Yeah.
we didn't have the savings that we needed to get through that period of time.
Mhm.
Kids were young, it was expensive, but we still weren't as focused on our finances as we should have been.
Yeah.
And I just saw things differently. I just thought if I just keep working and making more money, that we'll be happy and we'll be okay and everything will
Mm,
be fine. But I think that perception was incorrect. And
yeah.
um, I think one of your part of your question was like, how do you is it something that you can go back to? Like, you're doing, but you can't go
Yes.
back or don't want to go back. And I think my perspective on that was I need to make a change,
Yes.
and I can change my perception
Right.
of how I think I'm doing. And so
Oh,
I just
interesting.
got with a friend and I said, let's kind of set up our goals. Let's kind of like work with each other on this kind of stuff. He was kind of going through something very similar.
Okay.
And we just decided to kind of hold each other accountable to certain things. And through that, my perception and my perspective on things started changing pretty quickly
Okay.
about what was important.
That's interesting. Let's talk about that a little bit because in giving what would advice would you give? Like so
Yeah.
you went through this journey of shifting, saying, I'm not happy with my life. I'm perceiving things in a particular way, it's satisfied or unsatisfied or not good enough or whatever those the
Yeah.
other way I might be processing that. I want to shift that because I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I've got a family that loves me. Like it's reshifting that perspective and
Yeah.
that focus. What's advice that you would give to people for this journey that you went through?
Yeah. So what really made me transform is that I just didn't want to be in that position ever again.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to make some changes.
Okay.
So I would say like one of the things and then some of the things that put you in that position is pain and hurt and
Yeah.
some suffering.
Yeah.
Just, certain circumstances put you in a position like I really need to look at myself. I need to
Yeah.
see this through a different lens.
Yeah.
And so I did. And so my advice would be just, uh, be proactive
Oh,
and
interesting. Okay. Yeah.
be a little proactive and, you know, plan things a little bit better. And that's really
Okay.
what I did. I just started planning
Okay.
my finances. One of the things that I thought at the time was if I'm physically healthy, if I'm financially healthy, and if I'm spiritually healthy, everything will come together. But there was an order of that. Like I
Oh,
thought it was
okay.
financially healthy first, and everything will
Okay.
fall into place. And then
Yeah.
I realized, it's more spiritually healthy first, and then these other things will fall into
The other
place.
things will follow through.
Yeah.
I like that proactive. Like, I think you find people that expect it to happen or
Yeah.
expect someone else to adapt. Like, the world doesn't have to adapt to you. And I think that's a
Yeah.
challenge for some people. And I think some younger people who haven't had opportunities to
Mm,
expose, especially after COVID, we have this weird gap in
yeah.
our culture, and they haven't had the opportunity to realize the world's not going to adapt to you. You have to adapt to the world around you.
You
And I
do.
like that advice of being proactive about it. What do you want? Take a step.
Set goals and
Yes, and even small ones. I am a
yeah, it doesn't have to be anything huge.
huge advocate for micro steps. What's the absolute smallest step that you can take towards the path for success?
Yeah.
Because that's you can accomplish that. And if you accomplish it, you get that dopamine hit. You get that. "Oh, look, I did it. All
Yeah.
right. What's the next one I want to do? What's the next one I want to do? What's the next one I'm going to do? I mean, climbing Mount Everest. If you never take that first small step, that first step isn't 1,000 feet. That first step is 2 feet, 2 feet at a time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I'm curious too, when you brought this up, is about perspective around other people. So what other people's perspectives are and what their reality might be. What is advice you have? Because I think you brought this up when we first started talking about it, and you said you never know what someone else is going through. You never know what the
Mhm.
perspective they're coming from.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll dive into what advice you have for people.
My favorite comedian is Robin Williams.
Yes.
And one of the things I remember him saying is be kind to everybody
Yeah.
because you just don't know what they're going through.
Yeah.
So in every interaction, be kind.
This is something I've seen you do. I will say I've seen you do,
Yeah.
like restaurants, or we'll go out for a drink or whatever. You're always kind, even if there have been times when somebody's been some kind of way. But
You don't know what you're
it's
going
always
through.
we'll give each other a look like they might be having a bad day, but we're kind. You're kind and you're generous. That sometimes I've been out. You probably do this too. You ever go to a restaurant and you have bad service and they're just flustered and you
Yes,
give them a big tip.
you do.
I give them an extra tip.
Well, I think I've been there, so
Yeah,
I know what that feels
yeah,
like. And I have those days. I
yes,
try to keep
wonderful.
it even. The reality is, like, if I'm having a bad day and someone shows me
Yeah,
kindness, it changes my day.
yes,
It really does. And so
yes.
that's kind of how I look at it. And that's one of the things that's changed for me as I'm
Yeah.
growing older and more
What?
mature.
What? What?
I'm
This isn't gray hair. I don't know what you're talking about, John.
no, this is
This is all unnatural. This is
I
not.
put this in
Yes, on purpose. It's
intentionally.
100% It's unnatural.
But no, and grace, like it's just giving people the
Yes.
grace that they deserve. Like that's the like my perception in some situations is automatically, um, gosh, what's wrong with that person? And I'm just
Mhm.
going to avoid the situation
Yeah.
instead of like maybe now my perception and perspective is like, hey, maybe I should talk to them, see what
Yeah.
they're going through, and maybe they just need someone to talk to. And, I don't know if that answers like the
Yeah, I think
question of what
it
you're talking
does
about,
because
but
that's the practical advice. So
yeah,
we can talk a little bit more about that. Way I always I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Granted, sometimes I'm having a bad day and I
of
want that
course,
grace. If I'm having a bad day, I want that grace in
yeah,
my life. And if I know other folks are having a bad day, or if I have an interaction, especially in the service industry, first of all, those people take it from not good people.
yeah,
Like there is no reason to treat anyone in the service. Anyone who serves you should never be treated poorly, even if they're kind of being a pain in the butt. You can treat them with grace and kindness
hmm
because I also believe what you sow is what you will reap.
yeah. I think and doing some of this reading on this topic
Yeah, yeah.
is how what is our reaction like, and
Hmm.
what is our reaction to a certain circumstance show other people.
Yes. What does it
So
say about you?
what does it say about me if I freak out about that bad service, or if I'm yelling at that person? Like, what
Yeah,
does that say about me? And
yeah,
like, I'm always, just trying to make sure that I'm, especially in front of my kids and
yeah,
my family, I'm trying to set a good example for them,
yeah.
and especially coworkers. Am I going to show them kindness and grace, or am I going to, kind of attack them
Mm,
for a particular situation that they're having?
right.
So my goal is always just to give, like, my advice is just be kind to everybody.
Sure.
And we watched the Grammys the other night. Did you
Mhm.
watch it?
No, I didn't watch the
Didn't you?
Grammys. I don't usually watch award
Well,
shows,
we
but
watched it on YouTube because
nice.
I was just I just heard some good performances were there, and there was some
Yeah,
really good new artists and stuff like that. And so I just enjoy watching it. But I think his name is Bad Bunny, and
yeah,
I just I've heard his name, I've heard some
yeah,
of his music. I'm like, I wasn't a big fan. I mean, I
yeah. It's
just
not my
didn't have
style.
no,
Whatever.
yeah, no particular reason. But he gave a acceptance speech, and he made a comment about like what hate does to a perception.
Interesting. Talk about that.
So if you're hateful about something,
Hmm.
or if you're in that mood, so emotion has a lot to do with
Yeah.
perception. Brains aren't cameras, they're storytellers, right? So
Hmm.
if you're in a angry situation, or if you're that just changes the perception to like a negative perception on something, rather
Yeah.
than one of the things he said was, during this, when people are being hateful, you have to show love.
Yes.
And then what love does to a perception, or even after the
Mm,
perception is calmed down
yes.
and you have a perspective on what happened, that love that you show and that love that you give to a situation, or that kindness that you give to a situation, is really changes everything, and maybe gets you more closer to the truth for everybody,
Yes.
rather than one person being hateful and then another person being love. You can bring it together. And I think that's what even he was saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think we're having such a struggle in our country right now with separation.
Right. Yes. We're
And
all human. We're all in the same place. Come on.
we're all the
Come
same.
on.
Yeah,
Come on, folks. We can do better.
we can do better.
We can do better. And if we are
Yeah.
empathetic, and this is a lot leans into empathy.
Hmm.
So I think empathy plays a huge role in your perspective on how things are going
Yeah.
are within a situation and what benefit of the doubt that you give someone. Here's an interesting question. Do you have any advice on how you tell the difference to your point, because you're talking about like how love can change that perception or hate. So for
Yeah,
example,
that's a tough one.
if I'm aware of that emotional state I'm in, I think a lot of this has to do with self-awareness. If I'm aware of the emotional
Oh,
state,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if you are sitting there and going, "Hey, I this was a terrible experience." Well, I walked in that with a bad attitude.
Mhm. Mhm.
What are
Yeah.
ways that you can, because I've seen you
Yeah.
filter that. I've seen you
Yeah.
filter it like, okay, I did this, but I realized that this might have been, these are the other self-aware tips. Like,
Yeah.
how did you gain self-awareness in
Yeah.
situations?
Reaction time and how we
Oh, that's
react.
interesting.
So pausing, like even after you
Yeah.
ask a question or after something happens, I think it's critical to kind of pause and
Especially if you feel that emotional click, like
yeah,
something turned you on, like that pause is huge.
I think the pause is really important.
Huge. Good advice. Yeah.
It's a pause and just think about what you're going to say and think about
Yeah.
how you're going to react. I don't always do that. As a
Mm,
coach, for in sports and stuff,
yeah.
like something will happen and I'll just be like, oh, I got to take care of this. I got to do
Yeah.
this right away. I'm going to say how I
Yeah.
feel. And I don't think that's always the best scenario. So for me, I've tried to kind of pull back on that quick reaction and trying to solve something right away.
Right.
I don't think being right is always the most important.
Okay. So this is a no. You might be wrong.
I might be wrong.
Well,
Like,
that's just a key self-awareness. Like, okay, what if I'm wrong? Like, that's a good question to ask
what
yourself.
if my truth isn't the truth? What if I just created that truth and
That's
somebody else's right?
wow. That's a
Yeah,
solid one, and really like
yeah.
just asking that simple question.
Asking yourself that question
Ah,
and taking time, take the emotion out of some
yeah,
circumstances. Sometimes it's great to be emotional if we're
yeah,
just hanging out, having a good time,
yeah.
and someone tells a story and you're getting
All
emotional
right.
about whatever. That's fine. But I think just like when, especially in business,
Yeah.
I think it's very important to just take some time before you react.
Yes. Take
Yeah,
time before you react. Ask yourself those questions. Like, I think recognizing physical cues as well.
yeah,
I don't know if you have physical cues. I have physical cues of
you do.
if
Right.
I am getting tense. I can feel it in my stomach tighten up, my
Yeah.
shoulders tighten up. I actually feel my body change and my jaw
Wow.
change. And I've become self aware of that over
That's
time. So
very aware.
if I see that happening, I'm like, I'm calm. So touching something, like
Hmm.
being back present onto the ground where I am,
Interesting.
but it comes with a pause. So to your point, if I don't take a pause and I immediately react when I feel the
Yeah.
reaction, it's usually not a positive
And I think the part
experience.
of that I think is important also is that I could be wrong,
That's huge.
but there's also this piece where there's more information.
That's great.
I need more information.
And what else information do I need? I love that.
What information don't I have?
Yeah.
And that's gonna change my perception and perspective on a situation.
Well, even asking the question like, what information would I need to change my perception? Well, this is what I think happened. What could be different? And looking at it from other angles, I think is huge as well.
I think asking questions. I mean, that's kind of what we're
Yes.
doing here. It's
Yes.
like
Yes.
if you're just trying to be right
Yeah.
and you're not asking questions to determine whether you're right or
Yeah.
wrong, I think that's where we might fail
Yeah.
in that process of getting to the truth. And I
Mhm.
think that's where, I've changed a lot because I probably in my younger days, and I think we've talked about what a young professional
Yeah.
compared to a seasoned professional, what's the difference? And
Mhm.
I think it's just that whole like being right, want to be rewarded and
Yeah.
things like that. And I'm past that in my life. I
Yeah.
don't need someone to say, great job,
Yeah.
Ratch. I'm looking more for like just opportunities to listen to people.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not, I haven't always been a good listener,
Mhm.
but in sales and in coaching salespeople,
Mm.
there's nothing better
Mm.
than coaching them to the fact that they need to listen more
Yeah.
and not talk. Just kind of shut up once in a while. I mean, it's hard
It's
for
your
us to
best
do.
sales advice.
It's not.
Sheesh.
It's not easy for us to do that. We're a
Extroverts.
people person. We're
Yeah.
extroverts. We just like to. It's not that I like to hear myself talk. I'm just trying to like continue a conversation. But there's times when I just need to shut up and
Mhm.
listen to other people's
Yeah.
perception and perspective on something that maybe I need to change what I'm thinking. Yeah.
When this brings up a kind of a point I'd like to explore a little bit for those of us who might be out there feeling misunderstood. So there are times and there's been times in different situations where I have felt chronically misunderstood. Like I see this one way and everyone around me is seeing it differently.
Yeah.
What is some advice for you would have, like, if you are finding yourself in this space where you're being misunderstood by others, what are ways that you found, or maybe advice that you'd have around helping bridge that gap?
I think understand having the understanding that maybe I'm not right.
Right. That's a great start.
I mean, if everybody around me has a different perspective or
Mhm.
different thought on something, like what should that tell me?
Right.
It should tell me that I might need to look into it a little bit more. And maybe my information that I have is not complete.
Yeah.
So just asking questions and trying to dig into why they feel that way about something
Right.
and listening to them and understanding that my perception might need to change as well as I'm trying to change their perception. And if it's, you know, 4-on-1, 'cause that happens in my family all the time. It could be 7-on-1.
Yeah. Hi,
I'm
Dad.
like, but I'm still right, right? You guys are all crazy.
There's this saying, if it's
You're
everyone
all
else,
nuts.
it's
It's
probably you.
me. But in my past, I'd be like, everybody else doesn't know what
Yeah.
they're talking about. I know
Yeah.
I'm right here. Instead of like, as you mature, you're like, okay, well, maybe I need to look at this a little bit differently. Yeah, just kind of try to self-evaluate
Mhm.
and kind of look into
Yeah.
to your heart, kind of like what's happening here and how can I see the situation a little bit differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah, I'm not always right. My advice is like if you do make a mistake and you really perceive something
Yeah.
that's not correct or not truthful, then just admit it and say, yeah,
Own it.
I was wrong.
Own it.
Own it.
Look, it really garners you a lot more respect, and I've started this with my
Yeah.
kids. So if I got really upset with my son the other day, and he was being dumb, okay? He was late. He watched videos on his phone instead of getting ready for school, and I was like, "I can't drive you today." I'm yelling at him to get out the door. His shoelaces are untied. He's flying out the door.
Yeah.
And afterwards, I was like, "What if that was the last time I saw my kid? I am sorry. I was wrong. I should not have been. I need to hold them accountable." And there's that balance, I think, as a parent or as a leader. There's a balance to,
Yeah.
I have to hold you accountable to this. But my reaction, how I handled that was not right. And I apologize to him. And it's okay as a parent to say, you know what? Because I don't want him acting like that to other people.
Right.
I want to model the behavior that I want him to see. So I had to apologize and be like, okay, I shouldn't have handled it that way,
Yeah.
but I need you to do this. But it wasn't right for me to get emotional at you about this.
Your kids are younger than mine, but one of the interesting things as you develop relationships with your kids as they're
Yeah.
getting older, you're still a parent.
Yeah.
But my kids, I just kind of said to all my kids, like, I'm really sorry for some of the things that
Mm.
maybe I did in the past that I didn't realize I was wrong at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And my kids have pointed out a couple things like, yeah, you did this one time and
Oh,
you
wow.
yelled at me for this. And I tried
Mm.
to give you my, perspective on it and you didn't listen. Because,
It's gotta be hard to hear.
it's not though.
Is it?
It's not. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I appreciate, I think that's only going to make me better.
Yeah, I just feel bad that I feel bad in those situations where, like, "Yeah, you did this," and I'm like, I feel bad that I put them through that. That's what I feel bad about. I don't feel like,
I do.
but they're resilient.
But you almost can't feel bad
Yeah.
about it because then you're not going to seek that truth from them.
This is very fair.
And
You
then
have to seek
if I
truth.
if I feel,
Yeah.
if I'm angry or upset about that feedback that I get from them, then they're not going to want to share that
Right.
with me in the future. And I still want my kids as they're
Yeah.
growing up. They're smart kids, and it's good for me to
Here's that feedback.
hear that
I wanna
feedback.
hear it.
Yeah,
I wanna hear it. Well, and I think
yeah,
I respect how much your kids I always respect parents whose kids wanna be around them. Right? That's a huge
Yes.
thing. That's a huge thing, and that's my goal. I want my kids to want to be around me. So they are young, like, they're early teens, and yours are adults, but I want them to be
I have
around
one or
me.
two that maybe does.
Not quite.
Not all of them.
Almost.
Maybe
Oh, actually,
all
almost.
someday. Someday it'll be all, but most, yeah.
Most.
And they've moved back to town, and
Yeah, but they like, for the most part, like you.
they like it here, but they also like being around their siblings and their
Yeah.
parents. Yeah.
Well, it's a percentages game. I have a cousin who's got 4 And she was like, hey, I got 3 good ones. If the last one
Yeah.
has any trouble, he's like, what? What are you talking about? And she's like, I'm just saying I've got good ratios, okay?
Yeah. If it's 5 out of 6,
I mean,
I'm doing all
are
right.
you doing all right?
I'm doing okay.
Doing pretty good. I mean, we can't all bat 100.
I know. No, I'm very fortunate that
Yes.
they want to be here. They want to be around us, and we share everything. We're
Yeah.
honest and we're transparent. And I think
Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
they want to be around us, because we are honest and transparent. We're not pretending to be anybody
Yeah.
else, and I want them to be that way
Yeah.
too. But yeah.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you joining, John. This was a fabulous conversation. Anything else any other bits of wisdom that you want to make sure that you get to share with folks on this?
Well, I think the main thought about wanting to do this is that for a long time and still I think that I think I'm seeing the world as it is, but I'm just seeing a small part of it actually. I think like when we didn't talk about reality that much. I mean, I was this is kind of funny, but I said to myself the other day, this AI stuff is getting real. But it's AI. It's not real.
Right.
It's real, but it's not real. And so I was just thinking about reality, and like my reality is my reality, and yours is your reality. And then that whole thing where you can watch a movie and just rave about that movie and give it 5 stars.
Yeah.
And I might see the movie with you at the same time and saw the same movie, but I am thinking I'm never gonna get those 2 hours back ever in my life. So that's something that we have to like realize
Yeah.
when we're dealing with people, because our perspectives are different, our perceptions are different. I think I don't know if we can change that always, but I think just realizing that I'm not seeing the whole picture. I'm not seeing everything here, and I think my faith has helped me do that a little bit
Okay.
too. So I just don't think that. I think my faith has put me in a position where I'm, you know, more thoughtful and more forgiving.
Yes.
And I think before I used to think I was right, and now I'm like, I want to hear what other people think. And I'm, if someone says something, or it's maybe not what I would say,
Yeah.
you have to be kind of forgiving and
Yeah.
gracious to whatever they're going through.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's true. That's true. It's been really fabulous having you on, and I always appreciate it because people have a life lived, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast with my friends and people I know, because
Yeah.
they're interesting, and we have stories to tell, and we have pieces and perspectives that are just unexpected. Wouldn't expect to have a sales guy with 6 kids to be like, reality is not the only reality, but it's true, and so we appreciate your advice. Something that we do as well is I give an opportunity if there's any advice that you want to give that is expected, whether it's sales advice or raising kids advice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I was with one of my sales guys in Boston last week, and he's a young guy.
Yeah.
He's going to be a rock star.
Okay, cool.
And I think this is a sales situation, but it also is important in your daily life. But he had his blinders on, and he was with me. I'm his boss, but I just like to look at it as I'm just another coworker out here working with you. But we went to a customer, and he was excited about showing me and his relationship with this customer and everything that's going on. But as we drove in to see this customer, there were 2 opportunities that he hadn't seen in the how many months that he's been
working with
calling on a customer. So I said, hey, we're going to go in there.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, what are we going to do? I'm like, well, you're going to introduce yourself. And a woman came to the door. She opened up the door, asked him who he was. And in sales, the term is he threw up all over her.
Oh, yeah.
I hate to say it like that, but
we all know what you mean by that. Blah, blah.
He wanted to tell her everything that he is all about, because he was afraid that he was only going to get a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Instead of just showing her that he was interested and cared about her
Ask a question.
and cared about their business and what
Mhm.
they do.
Right.
And that's the first thing. And that's my advice to anybody in sales or anybody on an uncomfortable elevator ride
Yeah.
is show someone that you care about them before you tell them how much you know.
Yeah.
Because I can't stand it if someone comes up to me and just starts dumping everything they know on me without showing me or caring about like who I
Right.
am or what I do.
Right.
So my advice to him was, hey man, just relax
Yep.
and enjoy the fact that you have a new interaction with a human being and find out more about them. When at the end of the interaction, you want to know more about them than they know about you.
That's good.
And I think that's my advice to anybody for anything, especially in even if you already have that relationship
Yeah.
with a client, go in knowing some things about them and show them that you care
Mhm.
about them. And the phrase is show how much they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
That's someone told me that 40 years ago
Yeah.
and it still resonates with new
Yeah.
salespeople.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing,
you
and thank you for being on the podcast.
loved it.
Awesome.
Thanks.